Welcome to the bold analysis. It is betrayal and pretense of the highest order if the President of Republic of Kenya, William Ruto, can be traversing the country, posturing as the champion of unity in the nation, while his two cabinet secretaries are equally spending enough time spreading tribal vitriol, ethnic statements when they are attending public functions. And I think I've been saying it, and it is a matter of time for people of Kenya to read honesty in the political class by making sure that they match their action with the words. And the president must understand and should understand that when a cabinet secretary is making ethnic statements and someone sitting in cabinet, then that person represents the president. In this podcast, we are going to look at the shambolic remarks of Aden Duale and Duale-Mbadi, why Moses Kuria is taking on the two to be accountable to the things they are saying in public. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos, and thank you very much for supporting this podcast. We are shooting this podcast in the south coast of Kwale, and that is why we have a different background, and thank you very much. In this podcast, we say and we look at it from the realistic, pragmatic analysis, what exactly it is. So you have every reason to subscribe, because here you will get the raw politics, what really needs to be said. And I think without much ado, we have to single out two cabinet secretaries, John Mbadi and Aden Duale. What they are doing is a big embarrassment to the office of the president. I'm going to show you that. Yesterday, Mbadi and Duale were in Tana River for some public function. And in this soundbite that has gone viral, Duale is making some ethnic statements that do not befit the office of a cabinet secretary in this country.
Na mimi nataka nimwambie huyo mtu anaitwa Rigathi Gachagua, na hakuna kabila ambaye inashinda kabila ingine. Kwa vile baba ya Uhuru hakulala Garissa, Wajia, Mandera, Marsabit na Isiolo, kwa vile mzee Kibaki alilala tu Garissa, na kwa vile Uhuru hakulala Wajia na Mandera. Na siku moja mimi nakumbuka tulienda Mandera, yeye, mimi na mheshimiwa Ruto. Akasema mimi silali Mandera, akatuacha mimi na Ruto tulale Mandera. Na Moi alilala tu Garissa. Kwa vile mheshimiwa President William Ruto amelala Mandera, wewe unafikiri unatuita sisi, unatudharau, unatuasia sisi ni wagaidi? I want to tell you, Rigathi Gachagua from Balambala here, the days of entitlement is over. The days of entitlement that one community is more important than any other community is gone. It has gone after the new constitution, after the advent of devolution. We have a governor here with his ministers who are managing our resources. We have a county assembly with a speaker and members who are running the governance structure of our county. Wewe Rigathi Gachagua, usitubutu na usijaribu kutukana jamii ya Wasomali na Waislamu katika nchi. And we are telling anybody else, there is no superior community, there is no superior region.
Duale wakati nilikuwa DO, nilikuwa DC kule Kampunji. Duale waziri anatembea akiambia watu kwamba mimi sasa watu wapate vitambulisho. Yeye mwenyewe wakati wale magaidi walikuwa wanapiga mabomu Isli Nairobi. Duale mwenyewe bali alipeleka kotini kama mimi nadanganya. Duale mwenyewe aleta Isli, akaongea na Kisomali, akaambia terrorists kwamba msipige Isli. Watu wetu wanakaa Isli. Mkitaka kupiga mabomu, enda mkapiga Machakos. Sasa hivyo.
Yes, do not be fit. Do not be fit. I've matched that soundbite with that of Natembeya. You know, as we normally say, that the cabinet secretary they're not appointees of their tribes. They don't represent their tribes. And the narrative of setting up one tribe against the other, that now we are back to 2007. These are the things that Rigathi said. And I've always said this. The country should never set 2207 as a precedence in any election. It's a wrong precedence in its own texture and nature, where under the arrangement of that Pentagon, we incited the country, the political opposition then incited the country as 41 versus 1. And from my own personal feeling, if someone is setting 207 as a precedence, then that person does not have the interest of the country at heart. And Duale must be called out. You don't need, even if you're looking for votes, you don't need to wedge such kind of, such kind of narrative at this point. Mbadi is another one. Mbadi is promising some magic vote from the north, the Kenyan north counties. And of course, even at this point, supporting lifting of ID vetting from Kenyans coming from the northeastern side. I don't understand why, even if you want to support such a plan, it must still be, this has happened and it's benefiting X because so and so was not benefiting. I don't know why you must package your message as us versus them.
Wa shares tutawaambia na tutamuonyesha Kenya si ya kabila moja, si ya kabila mbili ama ya kabila tatu. Kenya ni ya kabila 42. Na mimi niko na furaha. Sasa tumeondoa hii vikwazo. Ilikuwa hapa ya kuweka vikwazo watu wengine juu wanaona watu wengine wanakuwa wengi, hawataki wakuwe na ID. Wasikuwe na vitambulisho. Ndio wanatunyanyasha, wanasema sijui tarakaniti nini. Tarakaniti iko Tana River. Shida ilikuwa tu moja, hatukukuwa na vitambulisho. Sasa mtakuwa na vitambulisho. Ninataka tukienda kwa kura ya 2027 watu wa Tana River mkuwe na kura 1400, 1500. Na wakati wa kupiga kura, juu tutakuwa tumeweka maji hapa, msihamehame. Lazima mkae hapa mpige kura. Si ndio? Sasa mtahama kufanya nini na maji iko hapa? Si mtakuwa tu hapa? Kwa hivyo mimi niko na furaha kukuja hapa siku ya leo. Mimi nasema tupatie Ruto second term tena. Alafu akimaliza tutakaa chini na Dr. Nur, tutakaa chini na ndugu yangu Yakub, tutakaa chini na Ali Wario, na mimi pia ninakaa hapo na tuseme ni nani anakuwa rais na nani anakuwa deputy wake na nani anakuwa sasa minister of finance. Juu hata mimi nitakuwa nimechoka sasa hiyo na hiyo kazi. Si ndio? Si ndio? Sasa wacha nimalizie.
I don't simply get it. It makes people sick. You want to support lifting Mbadi, but must it be that, you know, for so long you guys have been marginalized and now you need to marshal up numbers? This is statement that Mbadi has been repeating. He said it in Homa Bay some 2 weeks ago. In Tana River is doing it. The 2 cabinet secretaries have some straight orders from the president that you must galvanize your communities and set them up against another one. So bad, barbaric, and really unprincipled, and against the unity agenda that the president purports to speak about. Things are not good. I even realized in Tana River, in his speech, I want to play for you this soundbite. This is by Mbadi. He's trying to gaslight, you know, let me not use the word gaslight, I've overused it. He's trying to wink the members of the public there about money that has been set aside for this and that. And we are in August 2025, so it is 3 years. Remember, we had an election on August 2022. So 3 years after the general election, we are still talking about Galana Kulalu and some water pans here and there. And
789 million shillings kwa hiyo miradi. Pia tuko na Galana Kulalu. Serikali imeweka milioni 123 636,000. Na kuna an investor. Huyo pia analeta pesa, mabilioni ya pesa kuweka hapa. Na kazi itapatikana. We are going to create over 6,000 jobs there. There is Bura Crash Borehole, the piping in Garzen. 10 million. Haya. In the budget, kwa budget, pia kuna Riskdera, village water pan. 25 million iko hapo, itaenda kusaidia. That is the Lole constituency. In Bura hapa, kuna water pan inaitwa Charidede. Charidede pia tumeweka 20 million, milioni 20. Alafu tuko na ingine inaitwa Gafur water pan in Galoni, pia ni 20 million. Alafu tuko na Chirfa water pan. Chirfa. Hii ni iko Garzen. Hii ni ya Garzen. Chirfa.
Down here and there. And we're still talking about money set aside. But no tangible, no tangible results has been achieved. Galana Kulalu started from campaign period. The first interview in December 2022, the president was promising the country heaven and earth on the issue of Galana Kulalu. We cannot have anything to show for it. And of course, we are still inclined, we are still glued into giving more promises. For the first time, I agree with Moses Kuria. And I agree with Moses Kuria because in the recent past, I have listened to a number of leaders allege that there is a community that think it's more powerful than others. From Kamket to Mandago to Aden Duale in Mbala today. Some of us have unapologetically said no to returning this country to the politics of negative ethnicity. Equally, we will vehemently resist wholesale condemnation and collective punishment of an entire community. If you have a problem with any individual from Mount Kenya community, do not take it out against an entire people. If Mount Kenya people have eaten your goat, Kamket, Mandago or Duale, do let me know, I will pay you back. Do not drive our backs against the wall. A point of no return may lead to a very unintended consequence. I agree. I agree. What Moses Kuria is saying is it. When we warned that the impeachment against Rigathi Gachagua would actually cause a pushback, a Mount Kenya would actually trigger a Mount Kenya pushback, I made that statement here. The ruling class went and told Wanjiku that we are only doing away with Rigathi Gachagua. That when we remove Rigathi Gachagua, we shall have removed tribalism and the politics of shareholding. That is what Wanjiku was told. And then they went ahead and said that President Ruto only had a personal problem with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and William Ruto does not have a problem with Mount Kenya as a region. That is their position. And they believe that Rigathi Gachagua is auctioning Mount Kenya away from the president. But if you believe that Rigathi's problem, that you have a personal problem with Rigathi, then why are you carrying the entire community, bashing and profiling an entire community in the altar of squaring your politics with Rigathi? And this is something, I'm glad Moses Kuria is saying it. This is what he said next. Yesterday in Balambala, Aden Duale declared in broad daylight that 2027 will be like 2007. This is what Rigathi said, and hell broke loose. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Presume, are we really listening to ourselves? I call upon leaders to play back their speeches every evening and do some soul searching. Not because of ourselves, but because of our children. I'm looking at this. Why I associate with the statements of Kuria here is because I have seen people and leaders around the president's allies, from 3 regions: Nyanza, some Kalenjin fellows from Rift Valley, and the Aden Duale camp, running high voltage ethnic remarks against other tribes. And one question I've been asking, that around Kithure Kindiki, or rather in William Ruto administration, they're equally high profile, they're equally politicians who also have political, capital, platform to counter these vitriol. And why is it that someone like Duale is attacking a whole community, someone like Mbadi is attacking a whole community, and their leaders, there is Kagwe, there is Alice Wahome, there is Kindiki, there is Ishungwa, and then they feel comfortable with it? Isn't it a betrayal of the people? I've been asking that they are the ones that should be telling Mbadi, kama Mbadi anaenda, kama Mbadi na Duale wana attack Gema the other side, they should also be saying the position of Gema in all this. But they are quiet. And I've really taken an issue with the fact that they've been dancing as a whole community is demonized in the politics, in the altar, is being sacrificed in the altar of politics. Bana reticate flight mode. Ni nani huyo? Kete flight mode. Several members of the cabinet, I understand, are so unsettled with this trend. And even though they cannot come out to say, but there are many leaders that are in the mode of let's wait and see. Why the Gema profiling by the Mbadi Duale team are exercised in futility is this. Mbadi and Duale are playing this political role just to bargain for the next government. And if you're sitting in cabinet today and you are taking the ethnic numbers as a bargain chip, that bargain chip is gonna collapse very soon. I can tell Mbadi, speaking from this coast, from the shores of the ocean, William Ruto is not gonna pick you as the finance minister after 2027 general elections. It will not. It will not. It will not be the case. That I can promise you. It depends on where he will get the numbers. And according to him, that is what matters. That is what matters. He just realized he had to impeach Rigathi because he realized that what he promised the Mount Kenya constituency was not coming forth, and he needed to get another new friends to lie to. And that is why the Railas and the team are now dancing as the president is spewing numbers. If someone is still waiting for that, I think I really sympathize with that playbook. Kenya's problem with the Kenya Kwanza administration is purely based on two things. You promised and gave us hope, gave the young people hope that was not met, or rather, the response to what was promised did not, what done does not respond to the needs of the people. And number two, are destructive policies in the sectors of education, health, transport, and others that are packaged as modern day transformation. What the president is packaging as modern day transformation is actually destructive policies. And I want to give you an example. Do you know that the education funding model that was introduced to help universities reduce the burden because universities were working above what they can actually manage? There is a report just now, update. Debt held by public universities in Kenya surged by 10.4% to 76.1 billion in the year ending June 2024, up from 68.9 billion the previous year. Hata imeongezeka. Third thing is this. The promise of the magic vote from the dominant areas that for over time has not been having those numbers stinks to something like preparing ground for a grand vote rigging scheme that will not give Ruto the desired legitimacy after 2027 general election. The target for the president at this point is whoever comes in office must have the legitimacy. If from day one you will struggle with legitimacy, I am afraid, even if President Ruto forces his way to the second term, we might end up with another destabilized country. We must get it right. Thank you.